Talk about that and much more is Paul Ryan. He is now a partner at Solomir Capital and the vice chairman of Teneo. And Paul, welcome. It's great to see you here.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good to be back
Nice
with you. Good to see you too.
We have had a slew of other candidates who have come through Squawk Box. Chris Christie this week, Nikki Haley recently, and others. Do any of them stand a chance at this point with challenging Donald Trump? Because
yes.
When you look at what they're down by 20 points, maybe more, in any of the polls that you see.
Yeah, I think the key. Do not discount the Americans for Prosperity endorsement of Nikki Haley 2 days ago. That's actually a really big deal. The reason that that's a really big deal is you could say that Ron DeSantis' big advantage over Nikki Haley was his ground game in Iowa, which is impressive. Americans for Prosperity has an extremely impressive ground game. This is the Koch network's ground game. They just gave that to Nikki Haley. So not only does that level her up in Iowa with Ron DeSantis, that gives her a ground game in all these other states, and the calendar plays to her advantage. So I'm not saying I'm all for Nikki Haley. I'm for beating Donald Trump. I'm for any Republican who can beat Donald Trump. But I think if you had to pick a growth stock, I think Nikki's the growth stock. And the fact that she got this endorsement, I think, matters a lot. So the question is, since more than about half Republicans do not want Donald Trump to be our nominee, I'm among those half.
Of course you don't. It's Paul Ryan. This guy was a monster like 12 years ago. And now he's pretending that he's a good person because he's against Trump. Jesus Christ.
Can someone consolidate the sport in time to win? And the question, I think that's possible. I think that's possible. Is it?
He's got 66% in the polls, though, against the other candidates.
Exactly. You're going against the popular candidate, which doesn't make any sense at all.
I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I think it's still plausible because things can still happen. She's got a lot of momentum. After Iowa, you could see a consolidation. We'll see what happens in Iowa, but you could see a consolidation. And if one person can quickly consolidate the non-Trump field, I think because of these other atmospherics like AFP's endorsement and the rest, you could see, a plausible contention for the...
Right, but the downside of somebody consolidating all the anti-Trump support is that makes them the single target, and then Trump will annihilate them, right? That's actually a bad thing.
Nomination. Here's the reason. In the head-to-head polls, people do better against Joe Biden than Donald Trump does. I think the only person Biden can beat is Trump. And frankly, I think he does beat him. Because you know why? Democrats come home at the end of the day. And Democrats will come home if they're motivated. And you know what motivates Democrats? Donald Trump. So I think Biden still ends up beating Trump at the end of the day. But I do not think he can beat any of these other candidates.
You think Biden can beat Trump? Are you a lunatic? There's no way that happens. Biden is the most unpopular of Democrats, and Trump is the most popular of Republicans. This is completely, it's not even a fair shot to say that Biden could possibly beat Trump. There's no way. There's no way that Biden beats Trump. Maybe somebody else, but not Biden.
If Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, and Nikki Haley are up against Joe Biden, they win. Nikki beats Joe Biden by like 13 points in some polls. In Wisconsin, she's beating him by 10 points. That's an incredible
But here's the question. You're taking one poll.
Exactly. Even Nikki Haley is more popular than Biden. So you're saying that Biden can beat Trump. It doesn't make any sense at all.
On that side saying that Nikki Haley would beat him, beat Biden, that is.
Yes.
But then you're saying you don't believe the polls.
No, I do believe that. Actually, no,
actually Trump would beat Biden too.
I do believe the polls that Donald Trump is way in the lead in the Republican primary. That is for sure the case.
No, but
almost prohibitively. Almost prohibitively.
National level, and then you also look.
Well, that's what's going on in my mind when you ask it. You got it state by state.
Okay, but you look at the five of the six swing states.
He was only down in Michigan, I think.
Right. So what do you think that those are wrong? I mean, that.
Yeah, I think Democrats come home if they're really motivated, and I think it's hard to motivate
and not reflected in the polls today. Because
I've been in politics a long time. I've been through a lot of presidential cycles. I ran for vice president in 2012, and lots of churn happens.
You were up too.
What's that? We were up too. We were beating at this time. Mitt and I wasn't even on the ticket then. Mitt was beating, Barack Obama. I've seen this movie before, and I'm saying
Paul,
Trump motivates
you saw
Democrats.
Musk yesterday. I mean, I have a problem with that. The First Amendment stance Nikki Haley has on.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either.
Well,
But I
she's
agree with
also
winning.
She's almost like a neocon in certain respects.
I don't want to
too.
see Joe Biden become the next president, and I don't want to see Donald Trump become the
So
next
you can
president. I want to see a
swallow-
conservative become the next
not
president.
everyone's perfect, but Nikki Haley
Exactly.
is as close to.
Yeah. Look, I want
DeSantis.
just one. I'd be happy if Christie or Ron, DeSantis gets the nomination. I think Nikki's in the pole position here. I think she's getting a lot of momentum. I think she's got a very strong candidacy, but I also think she's the most appealing general election candidate we've got
Well,
right now.
how soon do you need to see some consolidation around one of these candidates?
That's a good question. I think that's a good question. I think basically around New Hampshire is when you have to see this consolidation come by February. Between Iowa and South Carolina. Well, I think you'll know by South Carolina. I think either Christie stays in or gets out after New Hampshire. Same with this.
Look what happened to Bernie Sanders. Right? Biden consolidated the anti-Bernie vote towards the end, and that's how he won. So if they consolidate the anti-Trump vote too soon, they'll lose to Trump.
DeSantis in Iowa. So I think the map makes the consolidation story for you.
See, Governor Christie was on the other day. His contention is that once Meadows flipped,
Yeah, I've heard him say that.
he's convinced there will be a felony conviction.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not a big Trump sympathizer, but the problem is the people who go against him on the left, make him a victim. All these New York cases seem pretty BS to me. Yeah. But some of these other cases are pretty legitimate, like the federal cases, and that's where I think he is in tough water. And again, so there's more story to play out here. That makes it really hard for this man to win a general election. I can tell you,
general election, but what about
you aren't going to vote for the guy?
Does it make him even more popular with the base, though?
With the base, but you think the suburban Milwaukee in the wild counties who didn't like him before January 6th are going to like him more now? So the new swing voter in America is the suburban voter, and it's going to be in 4 states. It's going to be Nevada, Wisconsin,
You're suburban Wisconsin. You're growing a beard to go kill Bambi.
Well, I live in rural Wisconsin.
To go kill Bambi.
Wisconsin. Yeah, that's right. But I represent the Milwaukee suburbs. In addition,
what are the 4 states?
Not a November beard. It's a deer season.
No, I'm a deer hunter, so this is a deer hunting beard. Nevada, Wisconsin.
Bad ending in that movie.
Georgia, and Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where it all comes down.
I think that's where it comes down. You could throw a Michigan in there, maybe.
What do you think about what Kevin McCarthy was saying
About Joe Biden?
About Joe Biden and about President Trump, whether he could, about President Biden or President Trump, whether either.
Yeah, I mean, look, Kevin's unrestrained now because he's not Speaker of the House.
You're not Speaker of the House.
Yeah, so you can, when you're Speaker, you have to mind your members and their political fortunes, and so you have to be careful about what you say so you don't screw up your members.
Yeah, that's real easy with this caucus.
So Kevin is a little less restrained. Look, I've known Joe Biden for many years. I've personally liked the man, but I haven't spoken to him personally, for a couple of years. So I can't say he's.
You personally like Joe Biden? What kind of garbage is that? When Barack Obama was in charge, Paul Ryan pretended that he was this huge anti-Obama guy. He just ended up working with the Democrats like all the time, though.
Serious cognitive decline. He appears to be. We live in a visual age. We live in.
I know. That's what I was thinking when Kamala
Kamala Harris. And so
Harris
if you just look at him and listen to his speech, he seems like he's in decline.
On
so
tape.
I think he's.
You don't
very
need
vulnerable
anecdotes
candidate.
about what he's like at meetings that you're attending. It's all on camera.
That's my point. That's my point.
What, people will then say, okay, Donald Trump is only a few years younger.
People age at different rates. Look, I don't want to sound like I'm defending Trump, but I think he's aging better than Joe Biden is.
Yeah,
my point is Trump is so
99.
toxic.
Yeah.
My point is, what I don't want to do is blow another presidency. And I think Trump would blow a presidency for us. Not only that, he'll give us ticket track. He'll cost us seats again, like he did in 20 and 22 and in 18. He'll cost us seats in the House. He'll cost us seats in the Senate. I think we win the Senate no matter what because the map is so good for us. But I think we'll do better than if we have a DeSantis or a Haley or a Christie as our nominee.
There's one exotic rice hack that anyone can use to dissolve their belly fat.
There you go. Paul Ryan, human rat, admitting he's anti-Trump. So that's another reason that people will support Trump, right? Mitt Romney's against Trump. Now Paul Ryan, Dick Cheney, all the worst Republicans that nobody likes are against Trump. So that's to Trump's advantage.